Hey guys, Jamieleigh here from BirdTricks, and in this video today I am going to show you the many ways that I give my own flock of birds a bath. Now I have birds all the way from small ones to large ones like macaws, and how I bathe them can really differ. So you're going to learn all the different ways that I can not only bathe my birds, but might be sharing some great options for you to take home and do with your own birds, plus it's going to be adorably cute footage. Now if your bird is terrified of taking a bath, I'm going to share some tips and tricks for you to overcome that. So even if your bird is terrified of water or has had a bad experience, don't worry, there's going to be content in this video to give you an honest solution. Alright, so since I live in a place that has 4 seasons, I can't always be giving my birds baths out in the sunshine like I would prefer to do and like they would be having in nature. So I kind of have to make do with what I've got. Now, a lot of bird owners have to bathe their birds inside, so hopefully this is helping a lot of you out. One of my birds' favorite ways to take a bath is with a handy dandy shower perch. Now, you gotta know how to suction cup those perches so that they stick and don't fall off, because a lot of times people go to use these, they put their bird on it, haven't secured it very well, and kabam, and flop, the perch has fallen off and so has the bird. It can be a very terrifying experience, so make sure that you wet that silicone part, you really stick it on there, and you make sure and test it out before putting your bird on it. Now, my macaws weigh about 950 grams each, and so I can fit 2 of them on one shower perch. So I promise you they are sturdy and they are awesome to use. You just gotta make sure they are secured on well. Now, I don't actually usually remove mine unless I'm going to thoroughly clean the side of my shower, and keep in mind that these suction cups do not suction to every type of shower. So usually they work best with glass.
Alright, I think you're good.
Birds do actually have different preferences of the temperature of their shower, just like humans. I tend to scold myself and come out of showers and baths with red marks on my skin because I like my shower really hot. Obviously, you don't want to do that for your birds. So some birds may prefer a lukewarm shower. Others may prefer that you're in the shower with them and they're just getting the basic mist off of your back. And some may prefer cold showers like my African gray, CRESSI.
This is the first time I've ever gotten CRESSI to shower in a real shower before. What I did was I put her on the perch and then I slowly, like crazy amounts of slowly, turned on the shower head to where it just barely went over the very end of the tip of the perch, and then I turned it on a little bit more as she got comfortable. And then a little bit more until it's just like this, and this isn't full blast.
Ladies all done? Ladies look pretty. Another rule of thumb for getting your bird to bathe is usually doing it earlier in the day can kind of serve better. Most birds don't want to go to bed wet, so they like doing it earlier in the day and during the hottest time of the day. So if you are keeping your bird in kind of a cooler area that's maybe around 50 to 60 degrees and it's not really digging it, most likely a bird's not going to want to get wet in those circumstances. So keep in mind temperature is key, not only for the temperature of the water, but the temperature of their overall environment.
We have BONDI and BANDIT. Everybody's in this giant shower.
One of my son Conures' favorite ways to take a bath is simply in my hands in the sink. So I can be washing my hands, and that's actually how I discovered that they love this so much, is I would put my hands and go to wash them, and my son Conures would run from my shoulders down into my hands and just into the cups of water that was coming into my hand. They love taking a bath like this. They also are notorious for taking a bath in their water dishes inside their enclosures.
Their water dish when they're in the mood. Like, the water dish is doing this. Oh. Call the water dish.
Another way that I tend to bathe my birds is with a spray bottle. Now in the winter months, I will actually put some really high quality aloe mixed into the water so that they're getting that extra hydration into their skin and their feathers, making it look real good. So a spray bath is something that all of my birds enjoy except for my toucan. Actually seems like he's starting to like it. Kind of like pooping up. Ooh. He gets really into it, I'll come back. Stormy started liking the bath. He made the noise when I pet him. He made that noise at the bath, so. And Storm's talking about it. He just had his. Now my toucan is kind of like my son Conures in the fact that he loves to bathe himself and he uses a very big water dish to do so. Lots of birds prefer to do their own self-bathing in a dish, so you can put multiple water dishes in a cage if that's the case, or put a handy dandy one that's a little bit more shallow than normal where a bird can run around in it and you don't have to worry about it going under. What a good boy! Good boy, Rasta, good boy. When the weather's awesome and I can actually get my birds outdoors, one of their favorite ways, and pretty much the only way for them to bathe other than in their water dish, is from the hose. That's right, I actually get a hose and I spray down my birds and they absolutely love it. One of the ways that they have really learned to love this is by me spraying the water over the actual enclosure, and it will drip down, start misting, and then they'll get really into it and come right in front of the spray itself. So giving my birds a bath through the hose has been one of their all-time favorites, especially on a nice hot day where they are very thankful to cool down. You are so wet, buddy. You are. You want more? Gotta stand further back because I get splashed. Morgan's watching. She's not. I don't know, she looks like she kind of wants to participate actually. You can do this in a safe netted enclosure. I have a batting net set up in my backyard for this specifically. Not only do I flight train in there, but it's also a great space for me to be able to give a spray or a misting bath to some of my birds on nice sunny days and not have to worry about anything trying to get to them outside. Some different ways to bathe your bird that I didn't show in this video are offering it some wet greens. Now this is a notorious small bird tactic like budgies and parrotlets and birds that are of that size. They really love rolling and rubbing themselves around on soft wet greens. This is what they would do in the wild. They would be walking into the grass and just being able to get wet through the wetness in the grass. So it's another really fun way, and it's a great way to kick in their instincts and get them bathing and taking care of their plumage to the utmost desirable capacity. That was an interesting sentence. All right, so what should you do if your bird is terrified of water? Now, there are a bunch of different things that you can do depending on the severity of your bird's dislike for water. Some birds have learned that the spray bottle is punishment, so the mere sound or sight of a spray bottle could scare the bird. There is some distance where your bird is okay with this spray bottle or the sound of water. You need to figure out what that distance is and start clicking and rewarding and basically training your bird to take a bath. What I've done in the past is I worked with an Alexandrian parakeet who was, unfortunately, his owners didn't know better at the time. They used a spray bottle as punishment to get the bird to shut up or to get the bird to obey them as they wanted. So this bird had learned to really hate and dread water as a whole. So what I had to do was keep the spray bottle in this room, which was the kitchen and living room all as one, and I would put it on the far end of the room so that it was in sight, but it was nowhere near determined a threat to this bird. He got used to it for a few weeks of it just being in the room, and I would slowly move it around the room closer and closer until I realized that no matter where I put it, he didn't have a problem or a reaction to it. What I was looking for mostly is a non-reaction to the spray bottle. Then I would start using the spray bottle every so often in the kitchen area, and I would just spray the wall or spray it into the sink just once, and I would wait for him to be calm, and I would go over, click a clicker, and give a reward. Now, instead of clicking a clicker, if you don't know what a clicker is or you've never used one, you can simply say the word good and go over and give a treat reward. You can either drop it into a dish or hand it to your bird, depending on how tame your bird is. The next thing I would do is just increase the amount of times I would spray or how much the bird was paying attention. So if the bird was eating a meal and I sprayed the spray bottle and it didn't care, it was kind of getting reinforcement in that moment. But if the bird looked bored or maybe was just watching you and trying to make sure what you were doing and you had your bird's full attention, then you spray the spray bottle and you got no reaction, that deserves a jackpot reward until that becomes the new normal. So what you're really going for is the bird not reacting to the sound and sight of the spray bottle. Eventually, when you can get close enough, spraying that spray bottle where the bird sees that there's a little bit of mist, it hears it and it now anticipates receiving a treat for not reacting to it is what you really want. When your bird finally shows that it's anticipating that a reward is coming, that's when you know they're really starting to understand the training. The next thing you can do is, as I've demoed in some of my other YouTube videos of getting birds over the fear of water and spray bottle, is you can start to spray closer and closer to them and make sure you shoot that spray bottle nice and high so that the sound happens, but then just a few seconds later the trickle of the actual water happens. It's not happening at the same time. You don't want to spray your bird right in the face and have it get hit with water and try to train that, because it's going to be such a shock. You're going to get nothing but a huge reaction. So make sure you have the sound, and then a few seconds later the trickle of the water comes down. Simply click and reward if your bird either gives a bathing response, which would be lifting of the feathers and kind of fluffing up and shaking, or just ignores it completely. Anything that isn't a huge reaction. And you will keep continuing to train from there until your bird no longer cares about the water, but actually anticipates the water coming because it knows that means its favorite treat. Make sure you keep these sessions short. You always end on a positive note, and before long, your bird will be enjoying bathing because it will have paired it with the sensation of receiving its favorite treat. Eventually, when I trained this with Rasta and Alexandrian parakeet, the bathing became so self-rewarding that he no longer needed the treat, which is the primary goal. If you tried this tactic and it worked for you, please let me know in the comments how long it took, what treat you used, and what type of bird you had. This will help other bird owners have a realistic expectation of how long this training can take and how well worth it it is. Just in case any of you were wondering where I got my handy dandy lefty pin, he is a green Quaker parrot. I did a pin collaboration with Hyperfinch on Instagram, and these are available for between $9 and $10 with free shipping from Australia. So go ahead, I will leave a link in the description if you would like to get them. 100% of our profits from these pins goes towards rescue birds. So you'll be supporting them and you'll look really cute. Hey guys, when I went to edit this, I had a realization of one very important thing that I completely forgot to mention about getting your bird to bathe successfully, and that is noise. I know it seems like a really odd thing, but in the rainforest, when a storm is coming, there's a lot of pre-stuff that happens that kind of creates the ambiance for birds to get ready to bathe. And this happens in numerous different environments in the wild, and so it kind of makes sense that it transfers to our own pet birds at home. One of the things that really turns birds into the mood to take a bath is the noise of a vacuum or a steam cleaner or something like that. Who knows exactly why it does it for some birds and not for others, but for my own birds, the vacuum does not work. The vacuum trick does not work. However, it's a very popular one among bird owners that does work in getting their birds to want to bathe. What works for me is actually when I go to steam clean my aviaries. Anytime they hear that steam cleaner going, they all want to take a bath. So obviously they can't with the steam cleaner, but it makes it so that I can easily stop what I'm doing, get a spray bottle, and make sure that I get them wet while they're in the mood to bathe. Bathing your bird as often as possible is really ideal so that their feather care is at the utmost and their plumage looks amazing. Some of the ways that I do this may transfer to your bird or may not. It's really about finding what your bird's preference of temperature is of the water, temperature is of the environment, and when as far as time of day, it's more likely to want to take a bath. Now, I try to offer my birds bathing opportunities every single day. Do they always take me up on them? No. However, I do try to at least make it available to them so they have that opportunity to keep themselves nice and clean. It's super important to also note that you never want to use any sort of shampoos or soaps on your bird. All they need is fresh, clean water. So any sort of products that are advertising putting any kind of soap in there will actually damage the feathers and make your bird over-preen to try to get it clean. So shampoo, although we use it, is not good or ideal for your bird. So please use nothing but straight water unless ever told by your avian vet to use something else. The only thing I've ever added to my birds' water baths is aloe spray. Not really aloe spray, aloe in the spray. Get what I'm saying? I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below of how your bird prefers to take its bath. What's its favorite method out of the ones I show you? Or maybe you use a different method that's not shown in this video. I'd love to hear from you, and leaving a comment always helps other bird owners come up with more ideas for how to enrich their birds' lives. So please don't be afraid to leave a comment down below and share your experience with me. As always, if you find this content helpful, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, share, and subscribe to the channel.